What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to this week's video. Welcome back to the Wolf Coffee Roasters channel. For those who've gotten here just by randomly searching coffee or looking for something different on YouTube, welcome. For those that are back again, thanks for coming back. If you want to check out what we bring out every week, please feel free and please do subscribe, hit the like button, kind of interact any way you can with us because we want to hear from you and we want to see you every week when we bring out something new. So, today's a kind of continuation on what we've been talking about, which is workflow. Now, before when we talked about workflow, we kind of went through all the different bits and pieces that you might find in terms of the movement that you have on bar, ensuring that when you're going shot by shot and producing every flat white or every latte, that you're being as consistent as you can, but also making sure that you're moving in a way that uses kind of all the components of a coffee machine and your grinder and potentially your puck press or automatic tamp to ensure that you're getting the most out of everything. Making sure that you're potentially able to knock out those flat whites or those cappuccinos in about 45 seconds or less. So it's a pretty darn quick thing and way to do it. Now, our focus today is more about the milk side of things because back in the day, it was rather simple. You generally had one or two milk jugs, maybe one slightly smaller than the rest, and you would do full cream and skinny milk. But then along came the introductions of alternative milks, and so we started to see things like soy. So we have here Bon Soy. It's one of the more demanded soys in the market. Certainly we use it here on bar and people come in every day and say, hey, have you got, say, almond milk or oat milk? Have you got alternative lactose-free milk like Zimmel? Have you got something like Milk Lab? We have a range of milks here, and what that's added as a barista and the ups and downs and flows of workflow is that it makes it that little bit harder and everything takes that little bit longer, because what you start to see is a range of orders as we're getting busy and you're getting 3, 4, 5 dockets at a time, but no docket says flat white latte cappuccino. It's an almond latte and a Zimmel flat white and an oat cappuccino. And so really what we start to see is this backup in which, as a barista, when I'm going to make these coffees, I can only do one at a time. My capacity to take a slightly larger jug and produce 2 flat whites at the same time starts to become somewhat limited. Now, there's a number of ways around this that allows you to maintain that speed, maintain that consistency, but at the same time, ensuring that nothing ever goes kind of wrong or awry. The last thing you want is to produce an almond latte for someone that potentially ordered soy. Or more importantly, if you're not following that workflow and purging your steam wand before and after use, wiping it before and after use, is that someone's ordered an almond latte and the next customer is allergic to almonds. So these are the kind of things we want to avoid. Now, the way we do this is by using the appropriate milk jug, not in terms of just size, but in terms of the way we work with our milk jugs. Now, you do have options like having different colored jugs. So we have here a white colored jug or a black colored jug. You can incorporate things like colored tabs or little rings. Some people like to use tape or even just a Sharpie on the handle to differentiate between the jugs. Now, if you don't want to go so far as having different colored jugs, you just want to stick with your standard Rhino Wares or Inverso silver jug range. Some of the things that we used to use, and that certainly I used in the industry, was that as someone's preparing milk for me, if my person on till has an extra 30 seconds up their sleeve and there's no new orders to take, they might be putting the jugs in front of me as the milk barista, ready to go. But if I have nothing but these silver jugs, how do I know which one's which? We used to use an interesting system where if it was placed in front of me with the spout facing forward, that would indicate to me that that's a full cream jug. If it was turned sideways, it would then be a skinny jug. If it was turned backwards, that would be my soy jug. So I would kind of use this system without needing to speak. Everyone would just be able to work through their workflows, and this would be a really great way to be able to get through communication and get through my workflow and know that I'm producing the right milk for the right cup in a sufficient amount of time. So if you're not currently using a system that has tabs or colors, maybe give this a shot and see if that helps you in terms of being able to speed up and get the right thing out in the right amount of time. Now, that's the milk side. When it comes to the production on the coffee machine, some of the things that you do want to be able to work with in terms of these milk jugs as well is being able to free your hands up and be able to produce the next jug one at a time and kind of be ready for the next one. Now, some venues like to have coffee machines where the steam wands are able to work with you. If your steam wands are brand new, we will say that a properly lubricated and new steam wand, either on a new machine or a refurbed machine, are generally quite loose. What you will find, however, over time is the kind of build-up of I'd say a lack of a better word is gunk, around your steam wand will allow for slightly less movement. Now what that means as a benefit is that this milk wand is now able to take the weight of a jug with milk in it. So potentially you can be inserting your jug with the milk in it, balancing the jug while it spins, and then prepping your next jug with the milk. Always keep an eye on this jug though. Even though it's there and it's spinning, you've added your air to it and it's now heating, you still only have about 30 seconds before it's at temperature. So don't just ignore it, make sure you're keeping an eye on it, make sure you keep checking it to make sure that the temperature is correct before you remove it. Now, if your steam wand doesn't support you in this way and you have a new machine or you have a slightly looser steam wand or potentially your drip tray isn't the right height, which on some machines it can't be, is that you can use another jug inverted upside down to provide a balance or something to sit upon for that jug to then be held up to the right height. Generally, you can use a slightly larger jug. Some people have the right bench height to use something like a latte glass or just something to kind of prop it up. This is a really great way for your milk barista to be able to free their hands up and move on to producing the next jug while the old jug is spinning. It'll allow you a really great workflow to move on to the next thing so that you're not waiting on that one jug to be finished before having to go back to the old one. So give that a shot, see if it works for you. So after you've got this jug spinning, you've got the heat going, some of the things that you as the milk jug barista could be doing, if you've got room or you're by yourself potentially, is that while that's spinning, while the heat's happening, you're loading up the next handle. So what you'll see here is that I've got the next handle waiting to be depressed into the grinder, waiting to set off that next grind. I could have a puck press next to that, also holding a handle, waiting to then be cleaned up. There's a lot you can do when you've got that extra 10 seconds, 20 seconds. It makes a big difference at the end of the day. Now, if you're producing hundreds of cups of coffee in an hour, every second counts. Now, the last thing to think about when you are operating any system using colored tabs or tape or a Sharpie or different colored jugs is ensuring, as I said before, the safety feature, that is making sure the right milk goes in the right jug. This is why things like jug rinses are so important. They're not only vital to things like workflow, making sure you're not having to run over to the nearest sink to rinse your jugs out, but at the same time making sure that the person ordering soy gets soy, the person ordering almond gets almond, and there's no confusion, certainly no flavor overflow into the next cup, but lastly, no cross-contamination. That is one of the most vital parts to workflow, which is if you're doing it right, not only are you producing a consistent cup of coffee and a great tasting cup of coffee, but at the same time, it's exactly what the customer ordered. But hey, that's just my opinion. Give it a shot, find out what works for you, try all of these different motives and different ways that you might be able to improve your workflow. You might be able to improve the way that you spin milk, you produce good quality, consistently heated milk. Maybe you'll find that you can move that little bit faster, and tomorrow, your next cup of coffee is that little bit quicker. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.